So today we're going to be looking at getting the sum of all the elements of an array. Okay, so basically one thing to note here right off the bat is the most efficient you can get this code to be is O of n because you have to go through each and every single one of these elements. Um, but yeah, let's just jump into it. So first things first, we need a variable to store the sum. So I'm gonna create an integer variable called sum. So if you let's say you have an array of doubles. In this case, you can create a double sum because or a float or whatever, floating point number, because the number that's going to be stored into sum is going to be a floating number. But here I know that I have an integer array. And because I have an integer array, the sum is going to be an integer number. So that's why I declare integer sum is equal to 0. And now I just need a for loop to iterate through the array. And because as I just said earlier, you have to go through every single element of the array in order to get the sum of all the elements of the array. So for I is equal to 0, I is less than n. So we're not doing less than or equal to because because if we do less than or equal to, what happens is when it goes to the end of the loop, it's gonna store, like for example, let's just continue our code real quick. So we want to actually so sum. I'll get back to the end in a minute, but so basically once we get into the loop, we wanna store um, we want to store that element, we want to add that element to the array. Whoops. We want to add that element to the array onto sum and store it in sum. So we want to update sum to include the current sum plus this element to the array. So what happens is every time it goes through the loop, it's going to take that element to the array, it's going to add it to what we already have, and then it's going to go to the loop again. It's going to take that element, it's going to add it to what we already have. And what I have here is less than n, not less than or equal to n, because we don't want to check array of n. If we have array of I is less than or equal to n, I will eventually be equal to n, and we have array of n. And here we're told that n is the maximum size that an array is. So basically, um, an array is based on indices and not the number of elements. So basically, we have the number of elements of the array, and that's n. So we have let's say 10 elements or 5 elements. So we have 5 elements. There's going to be 4 indices. It's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's why I want to check only less than n. And then what we do here is we get the sum, and then at the end of the function we just want to return the sum, and that should give us the right answer. So if we just compile and run and see, okay, so there's just a little semicolon. Okay. So now we're given this input, the first one right here, and the output is 6, and our output provides the same output as the one they tell us. So far so good, and we're gonna submit it and see what it gives for the rest of the outputs. And there we go. So this works, and the execution time is 0.2 seconds. This is always something to keep in consideration because the lower it is, the better, basically. And yeah.